And it's very, very enlightening. What I'd like to kind of do is maybe just kind of start off with, I really believe that we've got to keep government out as much as we possibly can, because if we want to see innovation and growth, it's not going to happen from the federal government, it's going to happen back home. And one of the things, Mr. Chairman, I would like to submit for the record today is a letter from a company doing business in my district, from Amplex's Internet, if I could ask unanimous consent that be included in the record.
Without objection.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. And one of the things that said, and just real quickly about this company, it's in a village in my district, and they have 2,100 households and businesses they supply service to, and they employ 8 people and have added 3 new employees in the last year, which is how we grow things in America, from small businesses, and grow small to grow large. But in his letter, it's interesting because he states a couple of things that I think that he might have been in your own meeting rooms, because this letter was dated December the 15th of last year. And he says in the letter, the Internet has grown incredibly rapidly without significant government regulation and continues to do so. There is no pressing reason for the government to act at this time. He goes on to say, in the limited number of cases to date involving questionable behavior, the existing consumer protection laws have been sufficient to address the issues. And I find that interesting because, one of the things I think I'd like to ask this question from, we've been kind of talking at the 30,000-foot level here today. What we need to do is talk to the people back home on Main Street. These are the folks that have got to do this. And starting with Commissioner McDowell, I tell you, I think that he must have been in your computer, because when I'm looking at your statement you entered on December the 21st of 2010, you state on page 6, and my dissent is based on 4 primary concerns. Nothing is broken in the Internet access market that needs fixing. An existing law and Internet governance structures provide ample consumer protection in the event a systematic market failure occurs. Those 2 letters are just 6 days off, but this is somebody from Main Street. Again, somebody that's out there trying to live with this. And I guess I'd also like to, I'm going to ask just something, or read something that Commissioner Baker, that you'd written in your testimony, that saying again that you're pretty much just saying that our surveys revealed that 93% of subscribers are happy with their broadband service, and that you go into that that we need broadband competition, you need private capital, and that the Internet is open without the need of affirmative government regulation. So I guess if I could just start with Commissioner McDowell, what do I tell the folks back home? How do I explain what we do here in Washington that affects them right off the bat? Because again, we're looking at, we do things at 30,000 feet, but we're talking with people right at ground level, ground zero now.
Well, I think you touched on an important point, which is, that we've had wonderful innovation at the edge. The Twitters, the Facebooks, the eBays, the Amazons have all developed under the current environment, that there is no systemic market failure, that nothing is broken. And when you look around the globe, it's not private sector with the private sector mischief with the Internet that's the problem. It's state control of the Internet. And that is the concern here. But also, I'd like to sort of take issue with the notion that's been aired several times that the December 21st order was somehow some act of consensus because Comcast and AT&T and NCTA, Comcast Trade Association, signed onto it. Comcast was very vulnerable, had a large merger before the commission at that time. AT&T, it ended up, was bidding on Qualcomm's 700 megahertz spectrum, is going to need a FCC approval of that. And of course, those 2 entities are going to want to comply as best as possible. But when you read their statements, they aren't ringing endorsements. And as we've seen debate over this peering issue as to whether or not the FCC is going to claim jurisdiction to regulate peering, NCTA and AT&T have submitted a joint letter to the Commission expressing grave doubts and feeling as though there's a bit of a bait and switch here. So, there's not great consensus here, and Wall Street analysts aren't part of that as well. Back in October 1st of 2009, we convened a workshop at the FCC on investment and broadband, and we had, back when Title I was being discussed and not just Title II, and we had analyst after analyst and investor after investor of various stripes and sizes cautioning us against net neutrality regulation. Then Title II, the specter of Title II, was aired last year in the middle of the year. And I think what you saw from Wall Street in December was more of a sigh of relief that it was not an overt or an explicit Title II reclassification, In reality, what it is, it's Title II with a Title I disguise, as I've said in my dissent. So that sigh of relief doesn't necessarily equate to Wall Street's endorsement of what the FCC did.
Gentleman's time has expired.